Warning, following the right Kickstarter pre-launch strategy may lead to moments like this.
And congratulations, we did it.
There it is.
You're witnessing the Crooked Moon team pop champagne as they hit $1 million on the very first day of their campaign. This was possible because they followed my 5-step pre-launch strategy that I'm going to teach you in this video. And it's not just the Crooked Moon team finding success. This is a strategy that hundreds of creators have used in the past year alone, working with my team at LaunchBoom. Campaigns like Xnote, who raised over $256,000, Biome, who raised $400,000, and NitroPress, who raised over $800,000. So whether you're an aspiring Kickstarter creator or a crowdfunding veteran looking to learn something new, you'll leave this video with an easy to follow playbook to make your next pre-launch a success. But before I give you the 5-step strategy, first, you need to understand why the pre-launch is so important. You may not like to hear this, but crowdfunding is risky for a creator. Yes, it does lower the risk versus traditional product launches, but it still has a lot more risk than a lot of people realize. For one, nearly 59% of Kickstarter campaigns fail. With about 46,000 projects launching every year just on Kickstarter, that means about 27,000 projects fail each year. Now, crowdfunding is risky partly because crowdfunding is crowded. As you can see, there are nearly 3,000 live projects on Kickstarter right now. And if I click on over to the pre-launch pages, there are over 5,000 upcoming projects. The idealism behind crowdfunding is you can just put your campaign live and the best project will just naturally be found. But the reality is it doesn't work like that. Creators need to spend money on marketing to be seen, but a creator can't just put their campaign live and then start spending on marketing. If they do that, it's very likely their campaign will fail. Instead, the campaigns that focus on the pre-launch and build up an audience like an email list before they launch are much more likely to be successful. That's because creators who follow the right pre-launch marketing strategy can hit their funding goal on the very first day. And hitting your funding goal quickly makes the rest of your campaign so much easier. Here are the top 3 reasons why. Reason 1, getting funded quickly gets you free traffic from Kickstarter. You see, Kickstarter has tens of millions of visitors every month. These are people looking for new, innovative products to pre-order. Now, getting funded quickly will boost your ranking on Kickstarter's Discover page. And just like marketplaces like Amazon, the higher up you are in the rankings, the more clicks you get. And the more clicks you get, the more sales you get on your campaign. And if you do this right, typically 20 to 40% of the total funding amount will come from Kickstarter's community, which is traffic that you don't have to pay for. Reason 2, getting funded quickly increases your conversion rate. Quick question for you. Let's say there are 2 projects on Kickstarter. Project 1 is 37% funded and Project 2 is 1,653% funded. Which one do you think would get more clicks? If you picked Project 2, then you're right. Hitting your funding goal quickly and having a high percent funding will increase the social proof of your campaign. Having more social proof equals more trust. More trust equals a higher conversion rate, and a higher conversion rate equals more sales. As simple as that. Reason 3, getting funded quickly makes getting press coverage much more easy. As you already know, there are thousands of projects trying to get journalists to write about them. So standing out is hard. To get their attention, you have to do something that's new, something that's newsworthy. Well, hitting your funding goal quickly gives the journalists something to talk about. Take a look at the Tandem Shower campaign we helped launch. They got picked up by Inc. after they hit their funding goal, and look what the journalist said in the very first line of the article. Blasted through its $10,000 Kickstarter goal last month, collecting $619,733 in funding so far. The journalist focused on how much funding they got, or rather how much overfunding they had achieved. Now, I will say that getting funded quickly won't guarantee press, but it will make it way more likely that you get coverage. And now that you understand the why behind the pre-launch, let's get into the how. It's time to talk about my 5-step strategy, and let's start with step number 1. When I say Old Spice, what comes to mind? Probably their crazy commercials, right? But as a brand that started all the way back in 1937, Old Spice's positioning used to be quite different. A long time ago, the brand appealed to an older male demographic, but by the 2000s, they were seeing sales rapidly decline. They knew they had a great product, but they needed to change their positioning. So in 2010, they made their new positioning public with the release of their first commercial, The Man Your Man Could Smell Like. You know, the one that gave us this classic line.
I'm on a horse.
This ad quickly went viral and captured the attention of a younger, internet-savvy audience, the exact people they were going after. Old Spice did nothing to change their product. All they did was change how they positioned their product. And the result? Sales increased by 125%. This shows how a good product doesn't mean much unless you have good product positioning. And to have good product positioning, you need to 1, target the right audience, and 2, clearly communicate the value of your product to that audience. When trying to figure out your target audience, I like to say you gotta find your super fan. Think about who would love your product. Stretch your imagination a bit here. Give them a name, create a little backstory, give them an occupation, a family, and an income. But the most important part here is to ask the following questions. What do they do for fun? What brands do they buy from? Who do they follow? What do they watch and listen to? For example, for the Crooked Moon, their superfan liked Dungeons and Dragons, tabletop games, and all things horror related. Now with your superfan done, it's time to figure out how to communicate the value of your product to your superfan. To start, write down the top 3 differentiators between you and your competition. Essentially, how is your product way better than what already exists? If you don't have at least one differentiator that shows that you're way better than the competition, you probably should go back to the drawing board. For example, here are the top 3 differentiators for NitroPress. 1, it captures nitrogen from the air instead of using single-use cartridges. 2, it adds nitrogen to any drink in 6 seconds flat. And 3, it is made specifically for creating nitro drinks at home. Next, you'll want to write out your headline and subheadline. The headline will be one sentence that clearly states what your product is and why it's the best. The subheadline will be 1 to 2 sentences that elaborates on the headline with a little more detail. For example, here's the headline for NitroPress. NitroPress is the ultimate nitro drink machine that requires no consumable gas cartridges. And the subheadline, make perfectly creamy nitro coffee and drinks at home at the simple push of a button. One nitro machine, endless drinks without needing anything else ever. All right, with your product positioning done, you'll now have a strong foundation to build the rest of your pre-launch. So now it's time to move on to step 2. So what in the world is a reservation funnel? Good question. It's a website to collect email addresses and, more importantly, $1 reservations during the pre-launch. By paying $1 in the pre-launch, the person is rewarded with something like a discounted add-on. To explain why this works so well, let me tell you what our pre-launch funnels used to look like. Because when we started LaunchBoom all the way back in 2013, they were a bit different. So the funnel would start with an ad on Meta. Someone would click on that ad and be taken to a landing page. On that landing page, we'd explain the product and ask for an email address to be notified about the launch. Then they'd go to a thank you page, and that was it. We keep building this list and pray that people would buy the product when we launched. But here's the thing. It's virtually impossible to know how likely someone was to buy using this outdated funnel, which meant that sometimes we'd spend thousands of dollars building an email list only to have a small fraction of them buy when we launched the product, which meant thousands of dollars in wasted ad spend. So we thought, there's gotta be a better way. And it all changed when we added a simple step. After someone gave us their email address, we present an offer to reserve the best deal for $1. So now the reservation funnel looks like this. So it starts exactly the same. Someone clicks on a Meta ad, they're taken to a landing page, they put in their email address, but here's where it gets interesting. After someone gives us their email address, we present an offer for $1. In the case of the Crooked Moon, for example, they offered an exclusive enamel pin, a mini expansion, and an invite to their VIP Discord server. But the important question is this: how much more valuable is getting that $1 reservation? Simple answer, a lot more valuable. We found that those that put down $1 are 30 times more likely to back the campaign on average than someone that just gives their email address. If you are spending money to build an email list, knowing who is 30 times more likely to buy is so valuable, because that way you can optimize your ads much better than before and increase the likelihood of having a positive return on your investment. And speaking of ads, now it's time to send some traffic. Even with the rise of platforms like TikTok, meta ads are still king when it comes to Kickstarter. And if the words meta ads scare you, don't worry. Really, anyone can do them once they start to understand the basics. So first, you gotta target the right audience on Meta. Lucky for you, you've already defined your superfan, so this part will be easy, because in Meta, an audience is mainly a collection of interests. So throw some groups of interest together and create some different audiences to target. For example, for the Crooked Moon, their superfans' interests turned into audience who like stuff like Dungeons and Dragons, RPGs, and horror movies. Once you get some audiences created, then you gotta create some ads. And an ad is really just two things: copy and imagery. Let me show you what the Crooked Moon's best performing ad was so you can see how this works. At the top of the ad, you can see that they used bold copy that explains why the Crooked Moon is the best product in its market. Below that copy, they included an attention-grabbing image of the product that appealed to their superfan. This ad performed super well and brought in lots of reservations, 11,147 $1 reservations to be exact, and having over 11,000 reservations sounds great and all, but what did they do with all those people? I promise I'll answer that question, but before I do, if you want to go even deeper into everything I'm talking about, you should check out my book, Crowdfunded. It's the best-selling book on crowdfunding in the world with 4.7 out of 5 stars from 261 reviews, and I published a new edition in August of 2023 where both the CEO of Kickstarter and Indiegogo endorsed it. Anyways, you can pick it up on Kindle, print, or audiobook that I recorded myself. Link to check it out is in the corner of this video and in the description below. All right, let's get back to it. It's time to talk about step 4. So it's not enough to just collect $1 reservations. You have to nurture a community. And one of the best ways to do this is to create an exclusive VIP community. This is a place where your superfans can interact with you and each other. And I recommend setting up either a Facebook group or a Discord server. Just choose the one where your superfan is most likely to want to hang out. For example, you can see how this worked for the Crooked Moon. After someone upgraded to VIP for $1, they were shown this thank you page. And on that thank you page, they explained that they'd be getting an invite to a VIP Discord server. Here's the email that they got that invited them to that Discord server. So here's why this works. People like to support other people, and creating a VIP community lets your superfans get to know you, the founder. This is where you can share updates about your campaign, ask people questions, and encourage members to chat with each other. If you do this well, you'll have a community of people that cannot wait to back your project when you launch. And speaking of launch, it's time to talk about step 5. The Crooked Moon team popping champagne when they hit $1 million was only possible because they followed step 5, launch with email marketing. This is a step where you tell your pre-launch email list that it's time to back your campaign. Here's what you want to do. Send an email to your entire list 7 days before you launch and 1 day before you launch. The idea here is to build up hype, make them excited about what's coming. Then, once you launch, send an email to your list, letting them know that your campaign is live. And if you followed the 4 previous steps correctly, positioning your product, building your reservation funnel, driving traffic with meta ads, and nurturing your community, then you'll probably be popping champagne just like the Crooked Moon team, and setting yourself up to reap the benefits of getting funded quickly. All right, you just learned my 5-step Kickstarter pre-launch strategy. I hope you take what you learned and finally bring your product idea to life. Also, if you're serious about launching your product and you want some help, my team and I would love to chat. Whether you're launching a tech product, a board game, or even a new boutique hotel, we can help you. And you can join a community of over 1,600 other creators who are launching their products too. Just click the link on this video or in the description below, fill out a few questions, and I'll get you connected to the right expert on my team. Oh, and real quick, if you're like most people, then you may still feel a little confused about one very important thing: how to drive traffic with meta ads. I just covered the basics in this video, but I do have a very in-depth guide that you can watch right here. Go ahead and click on it, and I'll see you on over there.